Most fishermen have a love-hate relationship with a spinnerbait because days when it's good, it's really good. You can catch every single fish on it and throw it all day. And then the exact opposite of that can happen. You can throw it all day and not catch anything. I mean, you can be catching them on a chatterbait and a lipless crankbait in the same places. Think, well, I got to catch a few on a spinnerbait, and they will not touch it. I had a fishing partner 5 years ago in a BFL regional. He had a pretty tough first day. He said, I'm just going to throw a spinnerbait all day. And I was catching them pretty good on a chatterbait and a lipless crankbait. And I was like, this will be cool. We'll get to see how this works. It's a big fish bait. He'll probably catch a couple big ones or one big one at least. He threw it all day. He never had a bite. Blew my mind. I didn't think that could happen, but it did. Now, I've also seen the other side of it where I picked it up a little bit and got a few bites on it, and I just didn't fish it enough. Come in at the end of the day, the tournament was won on a spinnerbait. It seems like lakes that have spotted bass, it always plays. And I've had times where I was on a really strong dock bite. I was catching them on a swim jig and a swim bait. And that water got a little dirty from practice to the time of the tournament, and I didn't really realize it. And I was fishing the docks, and I was getting a couple bites, and my co-angler was throwing a spinnerbait behind me and just went to waylaying them. She caught the big fish of the tournament, a like 3.5-pound spotted bass. This was on Neely Henry, and I'll never forget that. And it's one of those situations where a swim bait and a swim jig is not enough if that water gets a little bit dirty. So you are on that bite, keep a spinnerbait on too, because you never know when they might just need a little bit of flash and you're not giving it to them with the swim jig and the swim bait. So again though, this is one of those baits where hot or cold, and I like to keep it simple for that reason, because I don't want to be fooling with trying a bunch of different things if it's not going to work at all. So let's dive into the most important time of the year to throw a spinnerbait, and that is during the shad spawn. This is a deal that starts at night. Those shads spawn under low light conditions, so they start spawning during the night, and then it typically lasts the first hour of the day. So you get out there. You have probably 30 to 45 minutes to really load the boat, because once the shad spawn is over, those fish are gone, and it's typically around that post-spawn time. So the fishing gets really tough after that first hour. So you cannot be fooling with changing colors. You have to be putting your bait in front of those fish because it's such a small window. So shad spawn, anytime this has ever been a deal for me, it has been white. I have tried throwing white and chartreuse, and my partner just went to crushing them on white. White is the one I always throw. It doesn't matter if the water's stained or clear. Again, you're throwing this in low light conditions. So white in clear water works really well when there's not a lot of visibility. Shad spawn, it's always white. Don't fool with white, and you're not going to have enough time to cut it off and start trying other colors, because it'll be over, you'll be the net man. So white is that color you have to be throwing. So there's two other colors. Now one is going to range to the most extreme clear water situation. The other one's going to range to the most extreme dirty water situation, but there's a happy medium in between those two. So if I'm fishing really clear water, I'm talking as clear as you can get a spinnerbait bite in, I will get away from the whites and the chartreuses, and I will throw some kind of translucent color, a blue glimmer, something that when you look at the spinnerbait come back to the water, the first thing you notice is the flash of the blades. You are barely noticing the skirt. That's my ultra clear water color. Now this is a spinnerbait that has a lot of silver in it. There's no paint on the jig head. Everything about this just screams flash, and you don't really see anything else. That's what you want when you're fishing ultra clear water with a spinnerbait. You don't want to see that skirt material. Skirt material in really clear water does not look that natural. So you just want flash. It should look like bait fish, and that's the best thing about the translucent. You do want to throw a skirt on a spinnerbait most of the time because it will just make it run true. In situations like this, I typically don't fool with a trailer. So ultra clear water. Now, the other end of the spectrum is the dirty water, stained, maybe a greenish tint water. It doesn't have to be low visibility or maybe just 6 inches or less of visibility. You can still have a foot or a foot and a half of visibility and throw this white and chartreuse. It's just a color that works really well in all colors of water, really. So white and chartreuse is that color. Now there's a couple renditions of white and chartreuse. This is coleslaw. Any old school or new school spinnerbait fishermen know about this color. This is an awesome color. It's probably my favorite. Coleslaw. It's white chartreuse with a little bit of orange on the tips of the chartreuse. You cannot beat a coleslaw spinnerbait. I got quite a few of them. Now that's not just white. It's got a little bit of chartreuse and orange in there. But white and chartreuse, you really can't beat this. Chartreuse is one of those colors that really stands out to the fish. And once you get it past a certain depth, it turns almost clear. So it's just a great color. You can fish it in clear water, dirty water. And again, we're going back to spotted bass. So it is a great spotted bass color. That's probably the spotted bass's favorite color. So those are my 3 colors for a spinnerbait. Simplicity is key when you're throwing this bait. You don't want to be spending a lot of time changing colors because this is a bait. It's either going to work or it's not, but you got to try it. So I hope this helps you guys. Good luck to you, and I'll see you on the water.